Hello, Da Vinci. Welcome back. This is our second week of home learning now. So we're on Monday, the 11th of January, 2021. This is our English lesson. So let's have a quick recap. So last week, you orally retold the story map. So we wrote it all out and that's what we did. We learnt it from me showing you, then we wrote it out. We did a whole sentence. So then you wrote it out and we're focusing on capital letters and full stops. So we're going to keep that focus this week. So we're going to look at, can I use a capital letter and a full stop correctly? So today we're going to be looking at a piece of writing with capital letters and full stops that are missing. You're going to be a punctuation detective. Now remember, punctuation is your capital letters, full stops, maybe a comma, maybe a question mark. Those are all types of punctuation that add more to the writing, okay? And you're going to see whether you can be a detective and you can spot where we need to put in the full stops and the capital letters. So let's move on. So here we go. Here's our first sentence. It says, where would you put the capital letter and full stop in this writing? There are 2 capital letters and 2 full stops. So let's start off with reading it out loud. So it says, Bob wakes up at 6 o'clock every morning and makes a cup of tea for his breakfast. After that, he goes to work on his bike. So what we need to do is we've got these 2 full stops here. We're going to figure out where these 2 full stops go and where 2 capital letters go. So I think we're going to start off with the easiest thing first, capital letter. So where does my capital letter go? I can do that straight away. It's going to go at the, you can pause the video here, have a discussion, have a guess with your partner or your teddy, who you think, where you think the full stop and capital letters are going to go. Right, so the first capital letter is going to be, Bob needs to change into a capital B. Otherwise, not only is it the beginning of our sentence, but it's also the name of our character. So Bob wakes up at 6 o'clock. Now, what I can do is I can try now and see where the next full stop is going to go. And that's going to tell me where my next capital letter is going to go. So Bob wakes up at 6 o'clock. Now I could try put a full stop there. So let's see. Bob wakes up at 6 o'clock, full stop. Every morning and. Oh no, that doesn't make sense, that. So I'm going to move that full stop. Bob wakes up at 6 o'clock every morning. So let me try the full stop there. Bob wakes up at 6 o'clock every morning. Full stop. And oh no, see now I've got an and after my full stop, so that can't be right either. Bob wakes up at 6 o'clock every morning and makes a cup of tea. Now I'm going to try there. Let's see. Full stop goes here. Let's try. Bob wakes up at 6 o'clock every morning and makes a cup of tea. For his breakfast after that. Oh no, so that's not going to make any sense now. Right. Bob wakes up at 6 o'clock every morning and makes a cup of tea for his breakfast. Full stop. Let's try that. Bob wakes up at 6 o'clock every morning and makes a cup of tea for his breakfast. Full stop. That makes sense. After that, he goes to work on his bike. Ah, that sentence makes sense as well. So now we've got our first full stop. We know that the end of this sentence is going to be where our next full stop is. So where is our next capital letter going to go? Have a think. Well, it's going to go after our first full stop. So our word after needs to be changed into a capital A to make it a start of a sentence. After that, he goes to work on his bike. Excellent. Let's move on to the next sentence. At lunchtime, Bob sometimes he meets his friends, Sam and Billy, for a picnic. They like to tell jokes and talk about the stars. Okay, so just to confuse you a little bit, I've just changed the sentence slightly because I spotted a small mistake. I didn't want it to confuse you. So the sentence is, at lunchtime, Bob sometimes meets his friends, Sam and Billy, for a picnic. They like to tell jokes and talk about the stars. So I should move this light back because it's out of place. There we go. So now we're going to start off with where our capital letter is going to go. Well, just like the last sentence, our capital letter needs to be at the beginning of our sentence. So it needs to be at. At lunchtime, Bob sometimes meets his friends, Sam and Billy, for a picnic. They like to tell jokes and talk about the stars. So what we can do now is let's try and find out where that full stop's going to go. Now we know, just like the last one, that one of the full stops is going to go at the end here. So we now need to find out where the first full stop's going to be. So at lunchtime, Bob sometimes meets his friends. Now it can't go there because there's already some punctuation there, which is our comma, Sam and Billy. And there's another comma there that's telling me who his friends are, so I can't put it there either. So at lunchtime, Bob sometimes meets his friends, Sam and Billy, for a picnic. They like to tell jokes and talk about the stars. Now, the only place that I can see that would make any sense is here. It can't go before this one at lunchtime, even though there's a capital letter there. It's because it's his name. His name is Bob, so it can't go there. Let me just move that back. It can't go. Let me try and move my. I want to move my full stop. Come back. There we go. Right, let's move that back. Perfect. It can't go here after the comma or here after the comma because that can't have two bits of punctuation right next to each other for this full stop and comma. So it must then go for a picnic full stop. And then the next part of the sentence is talking about what they like to chat about, which is different from what he does at his lunchtime. So we're then going to add in that full stop, add in that capital letter, and then we're now ready to have our next sentence. We've got our at lunchtime, Bob sometimes meets his friends, Sam and Billy, for a picnic. Full stop. Capital letter, they like to tell jokes and talk about the stars. Excellent. Let's move on to the last example. So again, we've got before Bob leaves to go home, he packs away all his equipment and switches on the moon's night light. Then he jumps aboard his rocket and jets off home. So again, we can start off straight away really well by putting in a full stop at the end of this sentence because we know that it must have a full stop at the end. And we also know that we must have a capital letter at the beginning. So before Bob leaves to go home, he packs away all his equipment. Now I can't put the full stop there because there's an and next to it, and that's not going to make sense. Can't have a full stop and and. So before Bob leaves, he goes home. He packs away all his equipment and switches on. And then if I put switches on there, the moon night light then, that's not going to make sense either. And switches on the moon's night light. Full stop. Capital letter, then he jumps aboard his rocket ship and jets off home. So that is the next part of our sentence. We can see we've got one full stop, two full stops, one capital letter and another capital letter. It's all about reading the sentences and make sure it reads correctly. So now this is your turn. This is a challenge 1. You need to copy the sentence with the correct ending and add a capital letter and full stop. So your start of your sentence is here, and the next sentence is here, and the next one's here. And I've attached a picture to tell you what to do. So Bob can. What can Bob do? Can he clean? Can he eat? Can he drink? Which one is going to be this sentence? Once you've found out what the picture is saying, you need to write the sentence out, but make sure you've got a capital letter at the beginning of your sentence, and at the end of your sentence, you have a full stop. That is your challenge 1. I'd like you to go away and you go do that. If you are challenging yourself for challenge 2, you can do more than one challenge, remember. I want you to copy this out, and I want you to find the two spaces where the capital letters go and the two full stops go. So remember, beginning of a sentence, end of a sentence is where one of each go, but where do the other two go? So I need you to copy this out and correct it for me. That is challenge 2. A second part of challenge 2 is also another sentence here. I need you to then find where the two capital letters go and the two full stops go. That's what your next part of challenge 2 is. Finally, for challenge 3, I've really tried hard to push you to come up with some really creative writing. So you're going to write a paragraph. Now remember, a paragraph isn't just one sentence, it can be more than one sentence. And I've said that your paragraph needs to be 4 sentences, okay? So you need to write a paragraph with 4 sentences. It can be about anything you like. You need to make sure you want to get as many points as possible. You get 1 point for a capital letter and a full stop in your sentence. You get 2 points if your sentence has a conjunction in it. You get 3 points if you have an expanded noun phrase in one of your sentences. And you get another 3 points if you have commas in a list in a sentence. Now, you're going to try and get as many points as you can in your paragraph. Not every sentence will have all of these things in, otherwise it won't make sense. When you've finished, I need you to check how many points you've gained, and then have a think if you can gain any more. And if you can edit your writing. Before you go, let me show you an example of one. This is Mrs. Jalaf's dog, and Mrs. Jalaf has given us a piece of writing that is going to be a fantastic piece of writing that's going to get lots of points. So the title of this writing is called Bruce. I have a pet dog called Bruce. He is a sociable and playful dog. When he is bored, he brings his ball to me so we can play. He wags his long, fluffy tail to show everyone that he is excited. Some of his favorite treats are carrots, dog biscuits, and he most of all adores peanut butter. So, let's have a look using a highlighter at some of the things that Mrs. Jalaf has used in her writing. So she says, I have a dog called Bruce. Now she started the first sentence with I. She has not used a starting sentence of I in the rest of her writing. If you're doing a challenge 3, we are expecting it to not be I, because that is repetitive and boring. We are not writing like that. I have a pet dog called Bruce. Just a nice, simple opening sentence. She's got a capital letter and her full stop. Then the next sentence, capital letter. He is a sociable and playful dog, full stop. So there she's used a capital letter, a full stop, and a conjunction, because and is a conjunction. Capital letter. When he is bored, he brings his ball to me so we can play. Full stop. Is there something else in that sentence that gets a point? Well, the extra point would be for so. So is another conjunction that is joining two parts of a sentence together. So gets some more points. He wags his long, fluffy tail to show everyone that he is excited. Long, fluffy tail. Talk to your partner. What is long, fluffy tail? Well, long, fluffy tail is an expanded noun phrase. 2 adjectives, 1 noun. We know this, Da Vinci. 2 adjectives, 1 noun. So in between the 2 adjectives is a comma as well. So we've got a capital letter, an expanded noun phrase, and a full stop. Some of his favorite treats are carrots, dog biscuits, and most of all, peanut butter. Why have I highlighted those 3 things? Those 3 things in the middle and the end of our sentence. Talk to your partner, have a go. The reason I've highlighted them is because it is commas in a list. Some of his favorite treats are carrots, comma, dog biscuits, and peanut butter. And Mrs. Jalaf has expanded her sentence more to tell me a little bit more information about Bruce liking peanut butter the most, but it's still commas in a list. And then on top of that, we've got a full stop at the end of a sentence and a capital letter. This is the type of writing that I'm expecting. So you can write your sentences, but what I'm expecting is for you to have a go at trying to get some points for each one of these, for capital letters and full stops, for conjunctions, for expanded noun phrases, and for commas in a list. I am not expecting and. That is boring. You must make sure your writing is exciting to read. I'm giving you lots of freedom here. I'm not telling you what you need to write about. You can choose anything in the world. The last thing I'm going to give you is you've got some conjunctions here. These are what you can do to expand out your sentences and make them really, really exciting. You can also, like Mrs. Jalaf's done, add in a picture. So you could draw a picture of whatever you're talking about in your creative writing. I'm going to leave this on the screen for you to pause the screen. I want you to submit all your work onto Tapestry. I look forward to reading these really exciting challenges. Thank you very much for coming to the lesson. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, Da Vinci.